Welcome to the Impact Podcast, where change begins.
Even if we don't call it that, because what you're talking about is guidance. You're talking about representation. You're talking about sharing your knowledge and your experience. All of these things, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just listening to you.
Yeah.
All of these things you've mentioned so far in different ways. And that just sounds like such an overlap with a lot of things that I've heard from other mentors that are required to be a mentor. I'm not trying to put that title on you.
Yeah. No.
It just gives us some insight into how you operate, how this agency works, that interaction with your players.
The first thing you got to do, you got to know who it is. Who are you representing? You got to know. It's not about their talent level. It's not. You got to know what is it that they want for themselves. Do they want to play as long as possible? Do they want the big check? Because there are some of those guys. Do they want to use football as a way to travel and experience life? What is it that they want? What are their goals?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you approach it.
Yeah, there's some guys that are like, you know what? Maybe the NFL is not for me, but I know I can play in the CFL, and I know I can play for a very long time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
That's
wrong
number
with
one.
that.
Who is this person, and what do they want?
Yeah, what do they want? And then you get personal, like I always do. I tell them about me, and I want them to tell me about them. Do you have a family? Do you have kids? What's your family situation like? You know, where are your parents? Do you have brothers and sisters? Like, how are your interrelationship dynamics? Like, what's going on? You know, got to know those
And you
things.
share the same thing about your
Yeah,
stuff with
they
them.
all know I have a brother. They all know I have where my mom's at, my dad's doing, who my business partner is. A lot of them know some of the other guys that I represent. You know, you know, I like having, some of these guys that are playing each other that are like, hey, we got represented by the same person. They take a picture together and they send it to me. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Or, they're like, I thought this Romania thing was like dope, man. I get to give someone a 3-month vacation pretty much for free, right? And go play some football in Romania. And then they're back in time for some of these other leagues that they want to get into, like the XFL and USFL. Like the timing is fantastic because you also need to know the calendars of all these leagues. So then there's that aspect of knowing the player and who they are and what they want. Right. And then there's the aspect of, all right, so how do I get what they want and make their year the most efficient year possible? Right. We start our year at March 15th, just so you know. Our year doesn't start at January 1. So we start off the NFL calendar year. And, you try to get all the leagues and you try to understand what calendars are where and how could I get a player to go from here to here to here? Like I could tell you like a route through the calendar year, and I could have a player play in probably 3 different professional leagues in 1 year the whole time. And they're literally playing football 24/7. Now, that kind of worries me because it's like now I got to worry about health and I got to worry about like, do I really want them playing that long? Do I really want them playing tackle football like that? There are guys that are like, okay, I'll go play in the XFL and then try to make it to the NFL. Those are guys that are playing 2 seasons in 1 year.
Right.
I am not a strong advocate for that because I am still very health conscious, and that is, and I do appreciate that there's a lot of science going into player health and the helmets are 10 times better, so it makes me feel better. The padding is way better, so it makes me feel better. But
but what I hear is that you also feel like you have to provide that guidance to them. You have to be able to have that insight.
Yeah. But it does. You also got to realize, I could say, hey man, that's a lot of football in 1 year, and they're gonna say, I don't care. And all right, so I got to give them that same effort, man. They're like, look, I'm trying to get here, and this is what I got to do. And do I know that's what they got to do? I do know that's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. Some of them have to play 2 seasons in 1 calendar year. That's a lot. That's a lot. and they've been doing this since they were 5 years old. Some of them, were in California where you weren't allowed to play in the spring, but some of them were in Texas where you were hitting twice a year. You were in tackle football in the
Right.
spring, so they're used to that. There's a lot of things that you got to understand. Where are they from? Where are they playing high school football? Where are they playing college football? What type of environment are they used to?
Right.
And it means a lot when it comes to just understanding what you can say and what you can demand from a player.
Right.
And a lot of them are so resilient. They're so resilient. So
Again,
you
this
gotta,
comes back to what you've been saying about how business is personal. You have to get personal with these guys. You have to, and I keep saying guys, I don't mean any disrespect to your female clients. I know that you have to give that representation to them as well, but we're talking about football, so I know that's a different
yeah,
dynamic. Some of the
yeah, no,
concerns might be a little different.
yeah, it is a little different. It is a little different. I am still trying to find like a woman advocate that I can hire and help with these female athletes that I do have. I'm still doing it myself. I do have one employee by the name of Caleb Woods who helps me a lot. I do think it's important to have a female voice advocating for some of these women, and I can still do my best to share an advocacy on their behalf. But I just like, again, when it becomes personal, I think having a woman who can understand your physiological situation, your chemistry, and what makes you tick, you know, is probably a lot better than I would say for me, who ended up playing football for 10 plus years.
Mason,